Imagine our world, but not as we know it. The cities are shattered, overgrown ruins. A few of us are picking through the rubble when the ground starts to shake. A T-Rex, bigger and more terrifying than any movie could capture, smashes through a skyscraper, and its roar shakes the very bones of the city. For 150 million years, they owned this planet. We figured their time was over. We were dead wrong. In a staggering display of arrogance, we brought them back. Now, our cities are their hunting grounds, and we're the ones on the menu. Section 1. The hubris of creation. So, how on earth did we get here? How did our world of skyscrapers and Wi-Fi become a prehistoric death trap? Well, the story doesn't start with an asteroid, but with human ambition. Let's be clear. In our world, today, bringing back a real dinosaur is scientifically impossible. After 66 million years, their DNA is completely degraded and lost to time. But in this alternate timeline, our genius became our greatest folly. Scientists, wanting to prove they had conquered nature itself, somehow achieved the impossible. They pieced together broken genomes, using DNA from modern birds and reptiles to fill in the massive gaps. Using giant artificial wombs, they hatched the first clutch. A Triceratops. A Stegosaurus. Then, a Velociraptor. The world threw a party, celebrating a scientific miracle, completely blind to the fact that they just lit the fuse on a time bomb. They thought they were making theme park attractions. They were actually resurrecting gods of a forgotten, brutal age. Section 2. The fall of civilization. Putting these ancient animals back into the wild wasn't a smooth transition. It was an invasion. Ecologists warned that this was a terrible idea, that these creatures would become the most invasive species the world had ever seen. No one listened. These weren't just animals, they were ecosystem wrecking balls, and they engineered our world into total collapse. The giant herbivores, which needed to eat literal tons of plants every day, wiped out modern forests and farmland. A single Brachiosaurus, just wandering through a city looking for a snack, could cripple bridges and power grids simply by being, well, a Brachiosaurus. But it was the carnivores that shattered our civilization. A Tyrannosaurus rex, an apex predator from a world of giants, was simply more than any modern land animal could handle. Packs of raptors, terrifyingly smart and coordinated, turned our sprawling cities into inescapable mazes of death. Humanity, the planet's undisputed ruler, got knocked off its throne in the most violent way imaginable. Our armies failed, our infrastructure crumbled, and our cities became overgrown tombs ruled by a very, very old monarchy. Section 3. A new humanity. For decades, what was left of humanity was just barely hanging on. We were scattered, hiding in the shadows of our own ruined world, just trying to survive. We were prey. But we didn't go down without a fight. A new generation was born into this broken world, a generation that only knew the hunt. They didn't remember Wi-Fi, but they knew which caves a T-Rex wouldn't fit into. They were harder, faster, and smarter. They learned the patterns of the beasts. They mapped out their hunting grounds and nesting sites. They built new weapons, high-powered railguns that could punch through a Triceratops's hide, sonic emitters that could disorient a flock of pterosaurs. Small, highly trained guerrilla units started to fight back, taking back territory one bloody piece at a time. They weren't scavenging anymore. They were hunting the hunters. This wasn't about survival. This was about reclamation. Section 4. The final war. The turning point was the Great Offensive. The scattered human tribes finally united under one banner, launching a coordinated, worldwide assault. From the jungle-choked ruins of New York to the flooded plains of London, humanity waged its final war. They got clever, using the dinosaurs' own strengths against them, luring massive herds into canyons to trigger stampedes that would crush enemy nests. They fought epic battles in the rusted skeletons of skyscrapers and the dark tunnels of old subway systems. It was a brutal, desperate war that lasted for years. This war wasn't fought for resources or ideology, but for the right to exist. It was a war against nature itself, a nature we had foolishly resurrected. We were fighting for our very soul, proving that even when faced with the literal monsters of our own creation, the human will to endure is the most powerful force on the planet. We were no longer the scared mammals hiding in the dark. We were taking our home back. CTA in conclusion, the war is over now. The great beasts have been pushed back, contained in vast, isolated wilderness zones. Humanity is rebuilding, but our world is forever changed. We now live beside our resurrected ghosts, a constant, living reminder of our arrogance. The question is, what did we learn from it all? And more importantly, what would you do to survive in a world where dinosaurs rule again? Let us know your plan in the comments below. If you enjoy exploring these wild, what-if scenarios, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more dives into alternate history and speculative science.